Welcome to the Big Me Kickoff. I am your host, Kevin Noon. It is Thursday, February 29th, Leap Day 2024. As you could probably tell from the background, I am not at my house. I am in Indianapolis at the NFL Scouting Combine. Don't have great internet here, so hopefully it does not do anything to damage the actual feed that we're putting together, but we will do our best. As they say, the show must go on. I want to thank our partners over at nonaturals.com for being a presenting sponsor here of the Big Me Kickoff. I'll tell you a little bit more about them here in a minute. Here at the Combine, we've gone through 2 days of interviews. Of the 4 days of interviews, every player group goes through multiple days of where they come in, they meet with teams, they go through medical, they go through media, and then, of course, the thing that everybody associates with the Combine is the actual on-field testing. And we're seeing more Ohio State players that are not going to test, at least in terms of Indianapolis. Now, with Marvin Harrison Jr., it doesn't sound like he is going to test at all, not only in terms of the Combine, but either at Ohio State's Pro Day. And I think I talked about it on a show before. I am fine with that because ultimately you're going to the NFL to play football, not to run a short shuttle, not to run the 40, not to do a vertical jump or horizontal jump or any of that type of stuff. So we will see if that trend continues for some of your top players moving forward. When it comes to Marvin Harrison Jr., you know what he is. You know who he is. You know he's going to be a top 5 pick overall in the draft. He can get away with it more than maybe somebody who platooned for most of their career, doesn't have a lot of tape, and is hoping just to get drafted and not have to go the undrafted free agent route. But we'll talk about the Combine here a little bit in a second, but let's talk to you about our fine friends at No Naturals. Are you ready for an entirely different edible experience? Welcome to No Naturals, where we're shattering the stereotypes of one-note, slow-acting gummies. Forget waiting over an hour to feel the effects. Our gummies are fast-acting in just 15 to 30 minutes. You're not just choosing a flavor, you're choosing your vibe. With 5 core experiences and 6 custom combos, you're in full control. Whether it's energy and focus without the crash, a peaceful slumber that lasts all night, or a game-changing burst of bliss and euphoria, these edibles are the real deal. And the best part, you don't need a doctor's recommendation. No Natural gummies are dispensary quality and discreetly delivered right to your door. So whether you're craving a productivity boost, a good night's sleep, or some blissful euphoria, say hello to No Naturals. Try them today and use code HUDDLE10 for 10% off your order at shop.nonaturals.com. Know your edibles, know your experience. No Naturals. Now, hopefully, with my talking softly, you're hearing me. If you aren't, turn it up. I am in the media workroom here at the Combine at the Convention Center in Indianapolis. And while I have sequestered myself to a corner, there are still people everywhere in this gigantic room, and I just don't want to get all of the glares. So there you go with that. I was talking with some friends that are other Ohio State writers, and we were wondering, is there less interest from Ohio State fans in this Combine than in other years? And my answer was yes. And here's why. Ohio State may have won January. Ohio State may have won February. But as we know, the last time we saw them on the field in December was a rough go. And that Cotton Bowl loss is not out of the minds of everybody yet. And while I think everybody certainly has affinity for all 8 players that are at the Combine, there's just not enough players that move the needle, save Marv. And that's not to say that people don't have fond memories of Steel Timbers, Tommy Eichenberg, Josh Prock, Kate Stover, Mayan Williams, Mike Hall, and Matt Jones. I had to kind of go through the list of all the draft eligible players. All of them for Ohio State really made it here except for Xavier Johnson. Kind of a head scratcher on why he didn't make it, but it is what it is. But the point I made is, Ohio State doesn't have a quarterback here. And I think everybody wants to be a quarterback scout. I think everybody thinks they can be a quarterback scout. They know, well, I know what they do. They get out there and they throw the ball. And you either complete the pass or you don't complete the pass. And if you don't complete the pass, you're not good. And if you complete the pass, you're good. And that's not there. And with Marvin not working out, I guess my call's not working out. I mean, there are going to be several Buckeyes who are not working out or doing certain drills for one reason or another. Couple that with the fact that the team up north has 18 players here. And I don't know if everybody's going to be all that excited about turning it on and seeing these guys that, the reality is that Ohio State has really had, some strong rosters and just not been able to get the results. And seeing guys that were on a 3-game winning streak against Ohio State getting lauded over, especially by Rich Eisen. We know where his loyalty is to his alma mater. That could be, a bitter pill. So I don't know if Buckeye Nation is as excited by the combine this year. Now, next year is going to be entirely different. Ohio State will have 15 plus, maybe up to 20. And a lot of that, I think, depends on how some of the non-seniors do this year, because this was supposed to be the year that Ohio State could maybe have 15 plus. All those guys came back, which is great for Ohio State this year. It doesn't help your NFL combine coverage, but I will trade a week of combine coverage out for a whole season of a veteran team that should be able to do some pretty special things and create a lot of buzz that way. So the 2025, I have to think this through a little bit, the 2025 combine really should be a huge one for Ohio State, where you will have a quarterback in Will Howard, where you will have a couple of running backs and Trevion Henderson and Quinshawn Judkins, where you will have receivers, including Emeka Egbuka, where you will have more linemen, as some of you, Donovan Jackson will be at the end of his eligibility, and what happens with Josh Simmons and guys like that. On the defensive side, JT Tuimoloau, Jack Sawyer. Going to have some things at the defensive tackle position with guys that decided to come back this year. Linebacker, I guess, Cody Simon at that point. And then in the secondary, you're going to have a lot of guys with Lathan Ransom and Denzel Burke and Jordan Hancock and Davis and Igbinosun. So there could be a lot of players there. And I think that, I'm already telling Mark that we're going to need 3 bodies here next year, because there's a lot of schlepping around in doing this. And I'm not going to lie, this isn't like I'm out there, building a barn or digging ditches or doing plumbing work or anything that requires a lot of manual labor. But there's still a lot of schlepping around here. And in order to do the event justice, we will need more bodies. But he knows that. I mean, that it was an easy sell. It was an easy sell on that one. So, I mean, what is it, if you do watch the combine, what do you like the most? I mean, I know everybody wants to watch the bench and the 40 and things like that. And so much of the combine is not on television, in terms of, you're not going to see the team meetings. You're not going to see a lot of that type of stuff. But what excites you the most? Because honestly, if you've made it 10 minutes into the show of talking about the combine, either you are A, a big combine fan, or B, a big Kevin Noon fan. And if it's B, that's totally cool too. I appreciate all of my viewers. But I'm going to say that for a lot of you, it's going to be A. So what is it that you enjoy seeing? And, I've had people who are like, oh, you've been to the combine almost, 15 years. How many years you've gone? Can you do this? Like for Montville? No, we cannot, we cannot record any of the event. They finally, in the last couple of years, have allowed us to go in and watch some of it. And we can do some social media posting. But there's some diminishing returns on doing that. Next year, all bets are off. All bets are off. It's going to be an Indianapolis trip where it's going to be work, 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 all up and down, covering that amount of Buckeyes. Probably not going to be a St. Elmo's dinner or anything like that, because going to need to to handle all of that. But what is it that you enjoy most? I'm hoping before I get out of here that I will be able to catch up with the draft guy. We did have Ian Cummings on a couple weeks ago from Pro Football Network. We will continue to do stuff with our friends over at Pro Football Network. They do a lot of great work. There are a lot of great services out there, but I happen to know a couple of the guys over at PFN, and that's who I'm using right now. But I could talk about the draft every week up until the draft. I enjoy covering the NFL draft that much. There's just a lot there, a lot of moving pieces in terms of keeping track of what teams are doing. This year, what's going on with Justin Fields and the Bears. We're going to have a chance to do that. Check us out at youtube.com/Buckeye Huddle. We did post an interview from Tuesday with Bears head coach Matt Eberflus, to kind of see what the Bears are doing there. It sounds like he could end up with the Falcons. What would be the trade value there? Would it be a 2? Would it be a 3? I don't think it would be much lower than a third round pick, but you just don't know. And then of course the question is how does Caleb Williams fit into Chicago's system better when they can't protect a quarterback and they really just don't have a lot of weapons around? I don't know if I feel that Caleb Williams is going to be some sort of problem solver for the Bears in their current form. And the Bears have been so reluctant to use their draft capital to address these needs. And when it comes to collegiate players, I'm much more careful. I don't, it's not a matter of talking them or anything like that. That's not what I'm trying to do. But when you're truly a professional in the NFL, more so than NIL professionalizing you, it's a little easier to say, I don't think that was a good pick, or I don't think this player is really that great. So when they went and took the Tennessee receiver Jones, what were they thinking there? I mean, what were they thinking that he was going to solve their lack of weapon at receiver, that he was going to be their return guy? I don't know what's going on in that war room, how their board is set up to think that they have done anything to make that team any better. I was talking with a photographer from Chicago today about the Bears, and we're talking off the record. I don't really remember any of the quotes or whatever, but there was a great deal of frustration with what was going on there. And by his own admission, he was not, didn't grow up as a Bears fan. He covers the Bears, and you get close to the team and you certainly see things and come up with your own opinions. But it's like, I really think that moving on from Fields is the wrong direction for them if the alternative is Caleb Williams. And that was not meant as much of a slight of Caleb Williams as it was meant of a slight of the Bears organization, direction, and things of that nature. Because, okay, you're getting a quarterback that you're going to be able to sign to a rookie deal for 4 years, potentially 5 if you throw in the club option, and you're not going to have to pay out somebody at that point, but you're also going to kind of be married to them for a while unless you move them. And that just kind of seems to be the Chicago way when it comes to this. But you have a quarterback that, while I think Caleb is probably a little better of a creator in some ways in terms of the scrambling, when it comes to running north-south, I would take Justin Fields personally. Yes, I think that Caleb probably processes the defense a little quicker. I think maybe he's a little more decisive in some of his throws, and I think in some ways he has the moxie to say, I have enough faith in my arm strength and my arm talent. I guess arm talent was probably the term I was looking for there. I have enough faith in my arm talent that not only am I going to make this throw, I'm going to complete this throw. And maybe at some point Justin has just heard from all of the critics so much about, you can't do this and you can't do that he's kind of got a little bit of a vapor lock going on, if you will. I don't know. I don't know if I see that being the fit. That doesn't mean that I think that the Bears should sit there and say, well, they're just going to draft Marvin Harrison Jr. 1 and stay with Justin Fields. You can move down a couple spots just because of the reliance on the draft for quarterbacks. And this is a pretty good quarterback class. But I just, I don't know. I don't get it. We will do a live show tomorrow as we're at the end of the week, and I've got to deliver 3 shows, so we will figure out how to do that. Probably here in the afternoon on Friday, I will answer draft questions there. And not to the point of who do you think the Browns are going to draft at XYZ spot. I'm not there yet. I don't have any of my preview magazines. I haven't done any reading. I haven't done any research, but I enjoy the draft process so much. My plan is to go to the draft in Detroit this year, even if it is going to be kind of thin on Buckeyes. Because remember, if you go and you cover a draft or you go and you attend the draft, really the money night is night 1, and that's just the first round. Ohio State has 1 player that's going in the first round, and that's Marvin Harrison Jr. I think the next player up might go late day 2, in the 3rd round. Because you have day 1 is the first round, day 2 is 2 and 3, and then day 3 is 4 through 7. So it's not necessarily going to be a strong Ohio State draft, but this is how you stay up on what things are going to look like in the league. Not only who is your favorite team getting, but who is the team that you hate? Who are they getting? Who is it that you're suddenly going to be like, well, I liked him in college, but now I'm going to have to hate him because he now property of a team that I despise. And of course, everything else with free agency in terms of trades and so on and so forth. So I'm looking forward to all of that. Well, again, this was just a quick show, just kind of as a little bit of a scene setter. Kind of about almost 18 minutes. I think that's going to be good for here. So until we do talk again tomorrow here on Friday on a live show, be sure to subscribe to the channel, hit that bell so you don't miss the update when we're going. I would say 2 to 2:30, somewhere around there, Eastern time is my target time, but we don't know until we know. But until then, have a great day, and I'll talk to you all very soon.